KG7HPR. I'm on a grass-fed antenna with a 7300. Any copy?
Feed it some more grass.
I'm gonna go out there and get some fertilizer because I seem to have a bad SWR.
Your signal's not real good.
That's about 85, 86 degrees in here right now, and I really don't want to turn on the amplifier.
Oh, it's not that bad. I opened up the RF gate a little bit.
Where's everybody at? Usually it's almost bedtime, isn't it?
Well, 4 to 8, so I got maybe another half hour. But nobody else has been around.
Was it hot up there today?
Yeah, it was mid-90s, yeah.
Mid 90s? Whoa, I don't think it got that hot here, but maybe it did.
It was well over 91 because when about 1 o'clock I went out for a bike ride. I think it was around that time. Anyways, it was 91 or probably far better.
Huh, it's interesting. It's been really back and forth. We had some really nice days a couple of days ago where it was like I almost put on a coat. It was kind of chilly at night.
It's been cool in the evenings. 42 one night, 53 last night. So it's cooled off on and off. It's kind of sporadic.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Did I tell you about the crazy guy that contacted me off QTH?
No.
So I had that radio, that FT1, the really weird Yaesu that I guess people are crazy about it. It's really, honestly, it's a piece of junk. Everybody that has one can't get them to work right. If Clark doesn't want to touch it, it's probably not a great radio. But anyway, the guy, I put it on QTH as trade only, and this guy contacted me and asked me how much money I wanted for it. And he was, somewhere else. I didn't look to see where he was. He just had like a 2 call sign. So I was like, I gave him some stupid price and said I'm not going to ship it.
Okay.
So he says, "Oh, your price is way too high, or it's on the high side, or something," and proceeds to tell me how he just bought an immaculate one for $100 last weekend. And I'm thinking, well, why do you want mine? And he specifically said what he was looking for, and I saw him on the Yahoo groups, and I'm pretty sure he's the guy that has like 20 of these things. So I was a little bit rude to him. I had an attitude. Because I was like, I don't want to deal with the guy that collects 20 of these radios and wants to sit and ask me stupid stuff. And he's sitting there telling me how the radio is probably bad and it's no good. And so I just said, look, I'm not shipping it no matter what. So unless you have to have it, you're going to have to come get it. And then he said something else, and then he called me the biggest son of a bitch he ever met.
The other day, there was some other conversations going on at the same time, but yeah, he cussed you out for no reason. I was like, dude, either you want or you don't.
Right. So then he kept messaging me, and I said, "Aren't you the guy with the 20 radios?" He said, "No, that's not me." I said, "Well, didn't you post on here?" "No, that's not me." Blah blah. He said, "Can we start over?" And I didn't say yes. I just said, Oh, and in between there, I had said, "Hey, before you called me a son of a bitch, I would have probably gave you the radio for next to nothing, or free." And so he said, "Aha, joke's on you. I was going to trade you an Icom 756 Pro for your radio, but you wanted too much money for it." It's like, well, wait a minute. If I wanted $900 for this radio because I don't want to ship it, and a 756 Pro is usually between $600 and $900 depending on who's selling it. So how is that really that ridiculous? I mean, if he was willing to trade a radio that was worth close to $900 for a radio that's, I said $900, that's worth probably $500. I mean, it's not like really a big deal. But anyway, so he went and he finally stopped messaging me, and then all of a sudden I get an email saying he wants to come pick the damn thing up for free, and he can fly down here. And I told him trades only, not interested. And then I didn't notice I had another message where he said, "Oh yeah, I have an even better solution. I met this guy named Joe Kelly, something SAZ, the Joe that we know, and he can go collect the radio for me, and he can bring it to Texas to me. And I just came unglued. I was like, look, motherfucker, I don't owe you a fucking thing. I don't know where the hell you think that I'm going to give you a radio after how you talk to me. You need to leave me the hell alone. You're off your rocker. And unbelievable. These people are nuts.
Wow, he went the extra length, huh?
Yeah, he basically doxed me. He figured out where I lived. He figured out all this other stuff. I was just trying to be nice to him because I didn't want to argue with somebody that has my address. I mean, that's the way I look at it. You have my call sign, you have my address. It's probably not a good idea for me to piss you off. I don't know. I already know you're nuts. You could show up at my house and try and shoot me and my family.
Yeah, that's the problem. When I don't deal with people when you start screwing around like that. I just stop right away. I don't respond anymore.
Well, and I didn't either. And then all of a sudden, when I saw that one where he contacted Joe and said, I met somebody that you might know, I was like, I came unglued. They were like, I mean, I never told him he could have the radio. I said for next to nothing or free before you called me that name, And the guy, on his QRZ, speaks about himself in the third person, so that kind of tells you what kind of ding dong he is. And then he's got a picture on his email of this younger looking guy, but when you go on his QRZ page, you can see he's probably like 80 something.
Yeah, see, I'm real careful. I don't know how to put the correct words, but I just don't interact with these people very much. At the minimum possible, and if they got an attitude, then I'm done.
Yeah, well, I mean, when it first happened, I told Clark about it, and he said, don't even pay attention to that. These are just bottom feeders. He sits around all day and probably contacts everybody, and we'll find eventually somebody that will give him a radio for free. And I'm sure that's probably the case.
Exactly, and he got you wound up, and you got you talking, and then you started saying things you didn't really mean to say, and now he's got the can of worms open, and you said free, and then all of a sudden now he's all over it.
Yeah, it's like he's gonna try and make me eat my words or something, but he said joke's on you. So he did the same crap to me. He said, I was gonna trade you for this radio. So if he'd kissed and made up, he should have been bringing me that radio for my radio, But no, he thought he was going to somehow get it for free after he was just a complete dick to me. It's like, who the hell do you think you are? You think you're really important? Like, can I get your autograph?
Yeah, I just don't interact with those people,
Yeah, and you know me. I mean, like, I'm not, like, I might say a ridiculous price on something, but at the same time, like, I don't care about giving something away, but I'm not going to give something to somebody or give somebody a good deal that calls me a son of a bitch. And he didn't just say, hey, he didn't want to spell it out. He wrote SOB and in a previous message, who the fuck are you, without spelling out the words. But he said I was the biggest SOB he's ever run across. And I'm like, oh. And I said, definitely. But it's like with these people, it's like talking to them is like drinking a glass of poison,
Well, like I say, just let it go. Don't have any more interaction with the guy. That's the base I could give you.
Well, after I went off on him and sent that, and he finally said, "Oh, I thought we kissed and made up," and blah blah blah, and okay, good luck, 73. It's like, Jesus Christ. It wasn't until I really got nasty that he would stop sending messages. But I've met a lot of people like him, and every time you have something for sale, they try to get it for free. I remember in Oregon there used to be this guy. I don't even know if he was a ham. And every time I'd have a radio for sale, he would give me an email. He wouldn't realize I was the same guy. And he'd tell me how he was on disability, and he didn't have any money, and he was trying to get into ham radio, and he needed a radio for cheap, and all this other crap. Every time I would list a radio for sale.
Right. Well, another bottom feeder.
But yeah, he could afford to live on the Oregon coast, right?
Yeah, I don't know. People do things,
Oh well, right? I mean, the world is crazy place right now, and we don't even need to deal with this crap. But yeah, I don't know. Um, I've just been trying to get rid of some stuff so I don't have as much clutter, so I can enjoy the things I have a little better.
Yeah, I know. I got the same problem. I got too many radios and nobody wants to spend any money right now. The economy sucks.
Yeah, I was kind of like I got that TS 940. I don't really know that it works correctly. If it had a better receiver, I think I'd probably actually use it. And then I've got that FT1, and then I've got the Tempo, and I don't really need any of those. And I think if I didn't have them, I might have something else out in front of me, like a 102 or a 101 or something, you know. But I don't know. I don't know. I got all this other crap too, you know, like stereos that I finally had to quit going to Goodwill. I was like, you know, I'm spending hundreds of dollars every month that I could use on something else. You go in there and you spend like between $5 to $20, and you don't realize how much it adds up. You know, it seems like you're not really spending anything, but then you're like, how did I spend $300 at Goodwill?
Unless I'm looking for something, there's always time I'm going to go there. You know, just because I might find by you know, happen chance, you could be like a quick tool or something too. You know, that you just oh man, I need this, I need a set of cutters, you know, to trim a tree with, and you might find them there. You know, but other than that, I try not to.
Yep, and that's kind of what I started to do. So I think for the last month or so, I haven't been going down there, and then I've been selling stuff off and selling these stereos that I bought from there. You know, like I would go buy like, especially I would wait till they would go on tag, so they would put like these, you know, 80s, 90s, and 2000s stereos in home theaters. They'd overprice them. And then the color tag would come up, and I'd go buy them for $2. And so, next thing you know, I had like 20 or 30 of the damn things. And I've, you know, handpicked the ones that sounded the best, and then all the other ones are like, no, don't need those. Now what do I do with them? So I gave a bunch of them away, sold a few of them, and I'm still trying to get rid of some more.
Yeah, no, I don't even bother with those. God, I've given so many of those things away. I think the second-hand store we used to go to in Strawberry, Linda's and second-hand store, we were in there looking. I think, yeah, she's got really cool stuff. It's just also all crazy crap, you know. And she had a couple shovels in there, and I said, man, I need a shovel. And those two shovels, those, I don't know, you know, I know what. I forget what they're called, you know, the pointed shovel and then the flat shovel. And then I was, you know, you have two of those. Oh, man, what do you want for them? Oh, you give me $5? Yeah, I'll take them both. Thank you.
Oh yeah, yep. I use the flat shovel a lot in the backyard to try and I just go through and when the grass starts growing, just use that. It's like so much easier than pulling it all up. By the way, the grass is like a foot tall in the backyard right now.
Yeah, so, you know, you go to Home Depot and you probably pay, you know, I don't know, probably $50 or more for one. I don't know. But, you know, $5 for two of them. Of course, they're weathered, they're used, but whatever. Man, I don't care. I don't need it that often.
Oh man, I went down to Home Depot to get some like stuff like that. Like I needed one of the big huge picks that they use, you know, for stumps, and they were like $90 for the pick. The regular shovel was like $36, and then the flat one was like 40. So I went over to Harbor Freight. I got the big huge metal pry bar pick thing for like $19, and I bought a shovel for $14, and then the flat one. I think I must have had to buy one at Tractor Supply or Tractor Supply. It was $12. But yeah, Home Depot was crazy.
You need a pick. I need a pick, you know, with the skinny nose on one end and the flat blade on the other. Where's the best place to buy one of those?
Oh, Walmart. I think I paid $12 for one at Walmart. It's the one that says Hyper Tough on it, and it's got like the green grip. I've used it for quite a bit, and I've left it outside, and I use it, and I haven't had any problems with it. I've had it about 2 or 3 years now, and I've had a couple of their axes and splitting mauls and stuff. They're usually in the gardening section, and they're under $20 usually.
Well, I'm just curious. You mentioned Harbor Freight. I'm going to be right by Harbor Freight tomorrow. Do they have them there?
I think I must have looked and I didn't like the price or something, but maybe I don't think they're much more than like $20 anyway. But you can look on their website. That way you don't waste your time going in the store and just see what they want for them. But they do have some good deals on stuff for sure. Sometimes the quality isn't really good enough, and usually the stuff at Walmart is better quality than Harbor Freight.
I don't use it very often. I borrow my neighbor's once or twice, but I've had to plant a small plant or dig a trench. Then I could use that, and it makes it a whole lot easier. It doesn't have to be something that's going to last forever or anything like that. It's just temporary, short-term use.
Yeah, we used the one that I bought to dig up that big root ball in the backyard, and and I put a lot of pressure on it, and I almost bent it a couple of times, but it held up. So I bent that pry bar from Home Depot. It's like a landscaper's bar. I don't know what they call it. It'll have the point on one end and like the chisel on the other. I bent it. And I was like, nope, this is going back. And it's a big, huge, heavy bar too, and it's still bent.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna look there tomorrow if I remember when I'm driving by. We're gonna go see Mom tomorrow in Cottonwood, and she's just right around the corner from our house. It's easy to in and out and grab that. So that's a good thing. I'm gonna write it down on my list right now. Hold on, KE6RWB.
KG7HVR. I love that store over there. It's a lot better than the one here, and they are the ones that usually, I think they're kind of like a storage hub also. So they usually keep stuff in stock that other people don't have. I had to go down there to buy, what did I buy? I don't know, something that they didn't have. I think, well, I can't remember what it was now. I think it was like a heavy duty hand truck. Because I bought a refrigerator, like a 2-year-old refrigerator down in Cottonwood. And I was like, how am I going to get it out of my truck? I don't have a hand truck. And I went over there because they were the only ones that had one in stock.
Inside or outside?
That's inside the deal here. Um, Terry was on. He said it got into the upper 90s up there. I don't know how hot it got here today. I was pretty much inside most of the day. And when I did go outside, I don't think it felt like it was much over 80, but maybe it was in the 90s.
I don't know. I was in Prescott today. I think there were times maybe for maybe an hour it got up to 90. But I came up here and it didn't get over 82, 83. And like right now it's 64.
Yeah, it's just this thing traps the heat in. I probably could open the door and let all the mosquitoes in here, and it would be nice and cool.
Yeah, it's 64 here now, but it was at least 91 today.
Wow, well you live up in the hot area. You're so close to the sun.
Look like the flat Earth people, where they said the sun is much closer than it appears.
I don't know. I'm always surprised how elaborate their belief system is.
Do you think they really believe it, or they just do it for attention? I mean, like, you gotta wonder.
It's interesting. I think the guy that started that did it just to be argumentative, and I think that they caught on.
It makes sense, you know. You make something as a joke to play devil's advocate, and all these dumb people believe it's real.
I could be wrong, but I thought in the 90s when I started hearing about it, I thought it was just people who like to argue and were having fun with it. And then, in the early 2000s, when the internet started getting more available and people were beginning to believe it, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
What was that guy that had the steam rocket? The flat Earth guy? Mad Mike or something?
Yeah, I know you thought about killing himself. Was it in Arizona or California right there? Somewhere in that area.
I believe Nevada. Yeah, didn't he? It blew up and killed him.
This parachute deployed too early and it shredded it up to destroyed it on launch, and then he didn't have any way to land.
Where was he trying to go? I mean, just up in the air? Or was he trying to go to the moon or what?
I think he was just trying to go up in the air, and he succeeded. He got some good altitude.
Yeah, he did a whole bunch of different launches, I guess, many, many times.
But, I mean, the guy had some some decent mechanical skills. I think he was going to get like 1,000 feet off a steam-powered rocket, which is, not bad.
Yeah, well, he gambled and lost.
And that steam-powered, it wasn't just a rocket, it was him in it too, which is, that takes some doing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I remember a clip from the 90s, like 60 Minutes or 2020, and they were interviewing the guy that kind of was the big crusader on the flat Earth, and he had good arguments for everything, so to speak, and then they showed him a picture of the Earth from the, I don't know if it's from the moon or from outer space, and they said, well, what do you know about this? He goes, well, from that picture, I could see why you would think the Earth was round, and I just thought that is just classic.
That's a beautiful answer.
I have no argument, sir.
But I think that the people who believe the Flat Earth Society, code or whatever it is, also they believe other conspiracy theories. It's just not this. They're like, I think they're kind of anti-government. Remember that guy's truck that NSA is a hoax? They thought that they staged the moon landing at the meteor crater.
Well, NASA is a hoax, that's for sure.
Well, maybe you remember. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
NASA has released fraudulent pictures for years and years and years, and there's plenty of proof of it. But we don't need to get into that. I don't know if they faked the moon landing, but I know the Indian people just did.
Oh, that's right. They sent a rocket up there, didn't they?
Yeah, and if you see the footage, it's fake as hell. So I don't know who they're trying to convince. Their footage looks worse than our footage. And I mean, like, you're going to tell me that you have that bad of a resolution of camera in 2023?
Well, you're probably not seeing it at the same quality as the Indian people are seeing it. You're seeing it after it's been put on the internet.
Yeah, well, anyway, a lot of people have, like, analyzed it and pointed out how it's most likely fake. It's some kind of publicity stunt, and I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me. I for all I care, it doesn't really matter if the moon is fake and it's an alien spaceship. You know what I mean? There's some pretty extravagant theories out there. They're like, there's a reason we never went back to the moon. You want to know why? And it's like you can sit there and go down the rabbit hole and watch all kinds of clickbait videos on the internet about it.
There really isn't much that you can do there.
Well, I suppose it could be an intermediate station on the way to Mars.
Which is true, though, but, the so-called colonizing Mars is just absolutely ridiculous. Nothing lasts forever, and it gets and the replacing stuff up there is just incredible. I mean, it's absolutely bizarre. I'm not saying that we never will, but I cannot foresee a time in the future that we ever will.
Well, did you see what William Shatner, who he is, what he said about it?
What?
Well, Captain Kirk, he said that he thinks it's absurd, just like you just said, to think we can set up a colony on Mars. He said, why aren't we going to use that same efforts to fix the Earth?
That's the most intelligent thing I've heard in 47 years.
And, for the reasons that, John just said, the difficulty in getting supplies there, and it's not a very hospitable place to live, Mars or the Moon.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona's tough enough to live in. Imagine living on Mars.
I met the neighbor's son this New Year's, and he was getting a PhD in space resources. And we were just talking about, something, not too much about that, but he just said on the moon, I cannot remember the distance he's away. He said that they drove one of the rovers over there on a manned mission, and they took off something they had left there before. And I can't remember the distance he said. It was like a really long distance. And he said they landed, the rocket kicked all the dirt up, and what we forget is there's almost very little gravity and no atmosphere. And so whatever got blasted up did not slow down. And he said it absolutely sandblasted the hell out of something, and it was like I'll say like 3,000 feet away.
All right, hello.
It's almost a quarter of a mile or something ways away, and it just absolutely destroyed whatever they had gone over there to go look at, like part of the old rocket or lander or something. I don't remember what it was, but I was just like, oh my gosh, I've never thought about that.
W7WRX.
But
Hi, Clark.
Yeah, I'm just getting on late. I've been working on a project, and I couldn't get away from it on my radio. Who all's out here?
KG7H3R. I'm on a grass-fed antenna with the 7300. How copy?
You sound fine.
K6RWB.
Yeah, sorry, Terry. I was just in there on the bench, and I was right in the middle of this. I had a power supply fail in my big transmitter, and I couldn't figure out why in the heck what failed, and of course it turned out to be a capacitor. But anyways, I was right in the middle of it, and I figured it out, so here I am.
KG7 Oscar Lima.
Hey, David. We're leaving out of here about 10 or so.
Okay, maybe here about noon when we'll get lunch somewhere.
That sounds good to me, man. Let me say, I'll text you. I might make a goal to try to be at Mike's by 10. So yeah, because he's going to be across town. But I would say noon, 1 o'clock. Okay.
Already sounds good.
I don't know if there's going to be traffic going north. There probably will on a Friday. I'll figure it out, but I'll keep you in the loop.
Yeah, it's really not bad. You're right, it will be increased, and then it's gotten hot again, so people will be escaping the heat, but it shouldn't be horrible.
It shouldn't be too bad. I used to go back and forth all the time on Fridays.
Yeah, but you never know. That Friday, like 5:30, sometimes, it can be like, I'm just going home.
Well, a lot of times that we would go into Phoenix about like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then we would come back like, around 5, 6, or 7, and it was never really all that bad most of the time. There was always like Saturdays and Sundays, like one direction would be just absolutely screwed.
Yeah, I'm just going to be thinking positive. I got those magnifiers, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
I haven't even tested them. I just threw them in my next to my wallet and keys and stuff, so I wouldn't forget it. Anything else I need to bring?
I don't know if you have time, but you gotta have my tubes for my app.
Oh yeah. Which tester? Which tester do we need to do that? I think mine. Let me ask Mike real quick. You guys talk for a minute.
Well, anyway, so anything they do on the moon, whenever they land to do anything, it's going to literally get sandblasted.
Makes sense.
What about the little meteor dust? You know, small little particles striking the surface all the time. If one of those strikes your spacesuit, it's you're done.
Well, exactly. And the thing about that moon dust, too, is there's never been any erosion to fill any of that stuff out, that dust. So when it gets into something, it's the absolute worst abrasive you could ever have, you know, in anything moving.
It's kind of one of those things that you think about it and you're like, maybe they are full of crap.
Now, you know they have that on Mars, because there's wind on Mars, and I mean, the dust isn't quite so abrasive, and gravity's a little bit heavier, but it's going to be worse than here on Earth anyway, when you got rockets landing and what's being kicked out.
There's some serious force behind it, you know, the rocket. You know, I mean, like, how could it not be?
Okay, Bram, I got a question, a photography question for you.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Okay, so you have the Canon, you have the T8 or the T7? What do you have?
I've got the T7 and I've got the older professional 7D.
So my question is, I have an old T2i. I don't know, it's probably about 10 years old. Do you know what that is?
So yeah, does it have the fold-out screen or not?
No fold-out screen.
So it's probably 12 megapixels, somewhere around there, maybe 16.
I think it's more than that. It might be 18 megapixels. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's probably one of the very first ones. Yeah, that one, because after that, I think all of them had the articulating screen on the back. What about it?
Well, the question is, do you think it'd be worth it for me to upgrade the body to the T7 or T8?
If you want Wi-Fi connectivity and an SD card instead of the compact flash, I think it probably uses. The battery might be a little better. So I've had the T6 and I've had the T7, and those particular ones are about the same. But I think probably better focus points and stuff like that, maybe. So I think it could definitely be worth it. I don't know how well that T2 works.
But I mean, that T7, it will connect to my smartphone, and I can send pictures to my smartphone.
Yeah, you could put the camera on a tripod and use the Canon app and do remote shooting. That way, like if you're taking pictures of the moon or something, or stars, you don't have to touch the camera and make it shake. I use mine for astrophotography.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really cool. I mean, like, so then you can just download all the pictures from the camera over Wi-Fi, and you know, they did make what they call a Wi-Fi card for these things, you know, with ones that didn't have it, but they're usually, sometimes they don't work right, and they require like third-party software. So the Canon program works pretty good, and you can see the picture before you take it on your phone, and it's pretty cool. So you could sit there, put your camera on the tripod, have the whole family stand in front for the picture, and you could hold your phone and look at it and see if you have the right picture, and either just click it right then or set the timer and set the phone down. But it allows you to do remote shooting. I need to get the telescope out tonight or something and take a look and see if I can get a glimpse of Saturn. I think it's still supposed to be in opposition
It's in opposition to the moon?
to the Earth or the Sun or something. Whatever they said, it's the best viewing of it, you know.
Yeah, I saw that through a telescope one time, and it was just fun. The neighbor, he had a small gathering, and I look out in the street, and the guy, we lived on a cul-de-sac on the end, and I look out, and his friend had brought a telescope with him, and he had it out in the street, and I just kind of walked over there and go, hey, what are you doing? Oh, take a look. And I looked over there, and like, holy crap, that was Saturn. It was just so cool, so unexpected. It was fun.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I saw it for the first time earlier this year, and when I see it, I can see several of the moons around it and stuff like that. I don't know if you can still see Jupiter, but I saw Jupiter for the first time, I think, this year or last year. And you can see a couple of the moons. Not even really, you don't even really need a big telescope, but the bigger the better. We bought this one telescope. I don't know, it's not real big. It's like a 70 millimeter Meade, but it's got like that little go-to mount where you go and it has a little handheld controller. You find like 2 different stars, and then you have like your alignment then, and then it has a menu, and you have all the date and time in there, and it will show you basically what objects are the easiest to see today, and then you pick one and it automatically goes right to it. It's the coolest thing ever.
Does it record onto a computer?
It had an optional thing for that. This is really, really old. This came out in 2000. It actually came with like a DOS disk.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, Joe in Sedona has one that does all that. That's pretty new and much larger.
Yeah, the software on that stuff is just, on the newer telescopes, it's just mind-boggling. With the information in it.
Well, what's crazy is here's this one that was built in the year 2000 or maybe late 90s, and here I am using it now. I got it from a guy in Phoenix, and it was his dad's, and I think his dad gave it to him or something, and he never wanted to use it, didn't know what it was, didn't care. B&B, bed and breakfast?
Be right back.
All right.
Probably, 12 years ago, NASA launched a super top secret retrievable satellite, and the telescopes that people are using. Sorry, I'm back. Sorry? Anyway, so the telescope that people are using have got all the satellites programmed into them. They're smart enough to filter them out when you're taking a shot of the Horsehead Nebula or whatever that is, all that sort of stuff. They know it's there, and on about the 10th revolution of the super top secret in the satellite, somebody had snapped a picture of it and posted it on a astronomy forum saying, hey, we got a new bird up there, what's this? And it's an odd shape. I just thought that was just absurd. You can't even put a super top secret satellite in orbit anymore.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of satellites at night, a lot. She's always out there trying to find the Starlink train. They'll have I think that's what they call it. But I haven't seen any Starlink stuff that I know of, but I've seen lots of satellites.
Well, you gotta look at when they're gonna launch them, because they don't stay in that train very long.
Oh, okay. So that's when they launch them.
Yeah, when they're just separating, and then they'll spread out, and I don't know a lot about it, but I know that train will spread out, and it won't be like that anymore.
Do you have a telescope over there?
I do not.
You want one?
Oh, I don't know.
I've got a couple of them over here that I'm not using.
I know the mirror size is how big are the mirrors?
Well, I've got refractors and I've got reflectors. I've got everything.
How big are they?
4.5 inch reflector.
Yeah, I don't know. I could use it to look at neighbors' windows, I guess.
Oh, it's pretty powerful for that if you did it, but it would be upside down and backwards, I think.
All right, John Yao I'll bring my checker. Mike and I had to have a whole conversation because we forgot what we talked about. But I'll bring my checker, and I'm gonna dig for the tubes in the morning. I think I have a couple of them. Is that the only amp you have?
I'm gonna need a long age.
How come you don't use that one?
It's up in the garage, and I'm too lazy to bring it down.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, heck, that would be at least double the power that you have there.
Yeah, I thought the 400 watts was just fine.
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll throw it in the back seat, and so hopefully I have a couple of those. I feel like I do. I feel like I have two of them, but I have to go digging for them.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that.
And make sure you bring the grass-fed antenna too.
She likes those little magnifying cards. She's got two of them because she can use those at her work.
Oh, yeah, excellent.
She's sitting there with a patient, looking at the skin and stuff. She's an esthetician, so I showed them to her, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm literally going to use these every day."
Was it like a flat credit card size lens thing?
Yeah, Well, I don't know if you were on, but yeah, we went to a restaurant, her and I, the other day. All I had was my sunglasses for him. I couldn't read the menu.
Oh boy, yeah. I seem like I've been having a harder time reading the printing on some of the labels, but it's Chinese stuff, so maybe they're doing it on purpose. My vision is usually good. I just can't see really far away.
If I had my glasses, it wouldn't have been an issue, but I left them in the car. I just had my sunglasses on because we had to walk from the car to the restaurant in the mall, and anyways, I just didn't have them. So now I'm gonna put a couple of those in my wallet, and I'm always gonna have them.
Those were really popular like a long time ago, and I have never seen them since.
So I ordered like 20 of them on Amazon for $5, I think.
Yeah, they're plastic, they're flexible, and they work really good.
Yeah, they were dirt cheap, So yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna put two, and then I'm gonna bring John some. I know Mike's gonna want a couple.
WB6 and MJ.
Hey man, I got your email. The reason why I was gonna type back to you, but that DC supply can sit on that chassis, and the AC ground isn't going to stop it, and it could actually just be sitting on there.
Okay. I wanted to make sure you got the email okay. Much time here because you guys were talking, but anyway, I'm working on another problem with the amp meter I have. It's got a resistor on it. A little note on the back of the meter is don't loosen the screws or you'll lose calibration. So that's weird because it's just an DC amp meter that goes to 3 amps. I don't know how that was connected up there, but I'm looking in the manual I got with this thing, and I still don't have a clue.
So is that a meter shunt?
Yes, it's a shunt.
So you want to keep that?
Well, yeah, but why is there a shunt on a 3 amp DC meter?
You mean it's an external shunt?
Yeah, it's on the screws on the back of the meter. It's a 25 ohm, 25 watt resistor.
I mean, I've seen meters with external shunts, and normally you've got the two studs coming out, and it's double nutted, so if you need to put your wires, you put the wire terminals and another nut. And so I guess they're saying they don't want you to loosen the main nut, right?
Yeah, on the screws on the back of the meter, right. What I did is I put my VOM on the thing on R times 1, and the meter went up to 0.75 amps.
Yeah, because the meter has voltage in it.
Right. But what I want to do, and this is the key to everything, I want to connect it to the center tap of the element transformer and have that go to ground. And what's going to happen when it's shunted?
Yeah, the positive of the meter, if I recall correctly, goes to ground, and the negative hits the center tap.
Right.
But
anyway, I'll talk to you more about that later. I've got some questions, and this could take some time. So I just wanted to say hi and see if you got the email, and we'll go from there on a different time.
I'll have to ask Sam too. I don't know. I just was talking to him on the phone a little while ago. I know he's up, but I don't know that he's listening. I have to ask him, but I have seen meters with an external shunt, and I think he would just simply leave that alone. But he's the guy that would be able to answer that. Because normally I think the shunt is inside, but and that's why you're used to not seeing the shunt. But anyways, let me research that. But I know for sure that you'll want to take those fuses out of the rectifier. Those are in there because those were used in a different circuit. So if something shorted, it would blow the fuse. But since you're using it in this style of power supply, you don't want to have any fuses in the B minus no matter what. The B minus either needs to go directly to chassis, or better yet, it needs to go through 4 or 6 amp diodes or 10 amp diodes, but never fused. Like in the old days, I just leave it at this. If you pick up a handbook, they used to put the choke there. They used to put like a 500 choke in that lead. And the real danger is if that choke opens up, you're in big trouble because B minus isn't going to be back down to chassis. And so that's why you always want that B minus to go to chassis or do it with the diodes.
Right. Well, I figured that out through your email, and that's why I decided for now, instead of pulling everything apart on that board, I'll just put some 20 amp fuses in there, and they're not going to blow. So that way I'll be sure that I have a B minus ground.
Yes, I understand 20 amps. Yes, that's unlikely to blow, and that's a good quick fix. However, I'm just really going to feel better if you take that B minus off the cap itself. Heck, you could get some copper rod or something and just push it into the fuse holders if you're worried about having to rip it all apart. But you need to have the negative lead of the filter tap go to that chassis. That's the important safety part of this. You want that to go to chassis. So no matter what, that B minus is going to hit the chassis.
Right, and I understand that. That's what I gathered from our emails. And I'm going to change it. I'm going to pull those fuse holders out and just wire it directly to the chassis from the B minus on the rectifier itself. It goes to the cap, so it's filtered at that point. But anyway, understood, and it will be changed. I just thought I'd fire it up tonight to see if the rectifiers were good, and they are. And so there you have it.
Yep, awesome. Yep, I saw your note. You just need to get a plate current meter. I will ask Sam and I will report back. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, and I appreciate it, Clark. You've been a great help. Like I said, I don't claim to know everything, and by talking it up and asking questions, I know a little bit more, and that always helps. So, when you're messing around with over 6,000 volts, you've got to be careful. And I'm not going to just throw something together and say, okay, that's good. My Singapore 1000, I built the whole power supply for it. It's been working fine for close to 16 years, so I'm not worried about that one. But this one's got a little more current to it, and that's scary. Anyway, we'll talk to you later, Clark. Get back to your conversation there, and I'll listen out some more here. WB6MMJ. Thanks again.
Yeah, no problem, man. Great to hear you. It looks like you're going to have that on the air soon, so that's awesome. Go ahead there. Is Terry still out? Terry must have signed. How about David? Okay, I guess all those guys signed when I was looking up the tube data for the tube checker. So go ahead, John.
He was saying keep back.
Okay.
You get bored and take that little small flashlight, either one of the one you modify or the one you bought. Take one of those lenses and look in front of it, maybe like a foot away out in your backyard. And it's about 2 minutes of entertainment.
Okay.
You're looking at the drought monitor map for the United States, and Yavapai County a week ago was just half of what was in abnormally dry, and all of it is now. And I thought we had a decent amount of rain in like the last week, but it must be beyond the historical averages because most of the state was just abnormally dry, and now we're getting into moderate drought.
Then why is my backyard full of weeds?
Good question.
So you guys got all that rain.
It's been raining for months, actually. I mean, realistically, we've had lots of rain and then a couple of days dry and then lots of rain. That's been going on for over a month now.
But they don't check in your backyard. They check regionally, and then they also compare it against a historical average. So,
And does that go year by year?
they update it every week.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like we got a lot of rain recently as compared to last year. I'm just curious what the difference between the last year and this year.
Which is cool. It's drought monitor. Just search for drought monitor. It's kind of got it's droughtmonitor.unl.edu is the website. You can go in there and pick out weeks, years apart, and then do it side by side, or you can overlay them and wipe back and forth. It's a pretty cool website.
Okay.
But it's kind of interesting for the lake level is that all the tributary areas for the Colorado are there's no shortage of water. It's average, or at least it's at average. So that doesn't mean there's a lot of water going in. It just means there's not a lot of water coming out for agriculture. And a lot of that goes into Nevada and California, and both states they have tiny areas that are abnormally dry, but the rest of it is they're good.